Welcome to Your Story is Your Strength podcast, a podcast about how your story or journey through life, events, and activities is your strength. What is storytelling and how can your story become your strength? Thank you for joining us today for episode 4, Relationships. I'm Sarah Locke, your host, and today I'd like to talk about relationships. And I mean all of our relationships. Those we have with our close friends and family, to those that we made in high school and college, and those we're now making online and on social media. My relationships mean something. Every single one of the ties that I've made is an experience, a time in my life, something that built me up or made me stronger for having met that person or better for having them in my life. Some relationships are fleeting and only for a specific time in your life. For example, I had friends in high school that are simple acquaintances today, but I also have some that I'm sure to stay connected with on social media and by engaging, but I may not see that person at all anymore. Still, a relationship I cherish, and social might be the only way we each find time to catch up with one another. And that catching up is actually just viewing each other's posts and liking and sometimes commenting. College ran the same way for me. I made a few close friends that my daughter even considers extensions of her family for aunts and their children, her cousins, as we are the family by choice. These are the kinds of friends that you visit a few times a year for a weekend, but stay connected not only on social media in between visits, but have a rolling group chat that you randomly check in with one another as a group and keep everyone informed directly. These are the kinds of relationships that don't need to be worked hard. They just are. These relationships are no matter how long you haven't spoken, you do a quick catch up and jump right back into where you left off. These are the connections that just get you. Relationships with family, on the other hand, can be challenging. Family actually are some of the relationships that I have to work the hardest on. It's strange, honestly. When I think about it, shouldn't family just be? Shouldn't we just stay connected? This isn't the case for me. I wonder if it's the same for you. I find that I'm always having to reach out and stay connected. And if I don't, for some reason, that phone doesn't work both ways and that I'm not needed in their lives. I just am. And because I am family, they feel for some reason there isn't a need to keep up the connection. I feel I need it more. I have cousins that I used to hang out with daily and speak to daily on the phone and then text with, then engage with all the time on social media to just fade away to a like on a post every once in a while. What happened? How did we grow apart? Do we just move on with our own lives and our own families? And then the distance got in the way? Sometimes I long to hear their voice, but to call seems foreign now. It's been so long. And would it be awkward? What would we even talk about? How would that start? This is what I struggle with most. I know I have those that stalk my social and think that since I'm so vulnerable and open and post so much content that they're capturing it all. Perhaps they're seeing all they wish to see, but I don't feel them in my life anymore. I'm not seeing them post. I'm not engaging with them in any way. It poses the question, when people fall out of your life, do you really need them in it? I think you do. I feel I need my entire network and tribe, including family, when experiencing difficult times or going through a hardship, loss, or on the completely other side of that, I'm having a huge success or a win or a celebratory moment that I want to share. I want them there. I want them to hear. I want to hear what's going on in their lives as well. The timing just seems to not work. Even when I'm back home in my childhood town, I don't have the bandwidth to stop in and see everyone individually, but why don't we pull together a gathering or plan something? Is this the norm? Do you experience this? I have friends, of course, locally that I hike with, hang with, lean on heavily when times come that I need a shoulder or that I just need to get out and have a good laugh and feel a connection. Those are the ones I need the most, as my storytelling starts with my connections. Who's in my life? How am I building my story without my connections, my relationships? I strongly believe that every connection we have was for a time in our lives, and it's for a reason, for a lesson to be learned or something to be unlearned sometimes. Those that stay in our lives are those that we are still growing with and expanding ourselves through. Together, we're stronger, better humans, in my case, better moms, better friends. They complete a part of me. Those that have left my life were a lesson learned. Past relationships that taught me what I want or what I don't want in my life, how much I can endure, and how much I'm able to give in any given relationship. Relationships are best when both sides are able to feel accepted, listened to, and that connection that leaves you wanting to spend more time with that person. In my opinion, that's the best kind of relationship. You respect one another and all of our similarities, but we also respect all of our differences. Relationships and friendships aren't for you to be the same person as each other, but to accent one another, like a good pairing, like peas and carrots, salty and sweet, or as we age, a good wine and a cheese platter pairing. It shouldn't be something that takes a lot of effort or explaining of ourselves. Now, I want to jump into online relationships because these are a little different. I happen to have a ton of online connections for sharing and inviting people to join my fitness and health journeys throughout the years, from sharing my MS journey and everything in between. I've made connections that I thought would last forever, but then fade away once the 90-day workout program is through and I don't need accountability anymore. Or we just start different paths in a different fitness journey. I have some that I maintain and keep because the person is what I call my people. And we just get each other. And I don't care what they're doing in their lives. I want to follow it. I want to be interested. And if we were ever to meet, I know we would be called fast friends. I have relationships that are event-based as my life unfolds. And I share something they connect with, they will engage and reach out in what seems to be a sporadic nature. But this is fine, and I love it. I have someone that actually just reached out to me recently, and I hadn't seen him in 8 years. And we only met that one time. But there was an impact, a connection. And he reached out on LinkedIn and said, "Can I put some time on your calendar?" For no reason. And we caught up for an hour. We each said, let's not make it 8 more years. But even if it is, I'll accept it with open arms because he's the kind of person that I respect and I love in my life. He's my people. Relationships are connections with bonds, and we get to decide how much work we want to put into it or how little to make it work for us. We shouldn't have to force ourselves to do anything, even staying connected to our own families. Like I tell myself, the phone, messaging systems work 2 ways. They must not need me now, but when they do, we have each other's numbers and we will be there to hold each other up in whatever form is needed. We're family. My story is my strength, and I share it openly to build these relationships, to make these connections that I have, and some I hold near and dear to my heart, and others are only in the moment, and that's okay. All of my relationships give me strength when I need it, humble me, and let me grow as a person. The more you share, the more you know, the more you learn, and honestly, I think it makes me a better person, a more well-rounded person. I experience opinions that are not my own, but it teaches me to support without understanding completely, to advocate for things I never knew existed, and to hold others up that perhaps didn't even know they needed holding up. These are real connections, real relationships. The more people we encounter, the more relationships we have the potential to build, foster, and grow, or learn from and let go. What is our relationship status? You and me. Are we friends, foes, acquaintances, colleagues, long lost family? Be sure to comment how we met and what you like or dislike about our relationship. And I want to thank you for joining me today. And until next time, own your story, tell it well, and share it often.